Hey everyone and welcome to the video today. I'm Lockhart QT, no intro, let's get straight into it. As of recording this today, I just finished a 4-hour live stream reacting to all of this good stuff I'm going to cover today. And thank you to all of those who donated, tuned in, commented, just spoke to me in general. We had a blast. And you can watch the video on screen or in the description here. But today will be a complete breakdown of everything we've learned from N7 Day 2023. So let's get right into it. Starting off with the blog post. Now, I won't read it in full because we'll be here forever, but if you want to read it yourself, it will be linked in the description below. But to summarise it, we got Bioware, the fact that they're teaming up with Dark Horse Comics to sell a collection of all of the comic series we've seen from Mass Effect and Dragon Age. I think they might have done some Anthem ones as well, but they're essentially collating all of those together and you can buy them together. We also got loads of updates on cool new merch pieces on the Bioware gear store, as well as this cool brand new FemShep statue, as well as some updates on upcoming merch that haven't been released yet. And although I'll go into the sort of decoding part, this was the most interesting bit that we got regarding the next Mass Effect game, and I'll read this out in full. That process is equal parts rewarding and challenging. We've asked ourselves many of the same questions you've asked us over the years. What happened to everyone you knew and love in the games? Who really died? Who had kids with whom? What does a baby Volus sound like? What about all the galaxies? Their endings? What the heck is going on with our Asari scientist turned shadow broker? What about S? Never mind, you get the idea. And of course, to those questions there are answers, but you'll have to wait to hear them, and anything we don't say won't be easy to find, just like you've come to expect from our N7 Day teasers. Now, there's loads to unpack here just in this paragraph, because a lot of these statements, which have been carefully written by Bioware, they wouldn't just write something and not think that we're going to go down a rabbit hole with some of these things, but here we go. What happens to everyone we know could be referring to old characters returning other than Liara. Who really died? That statement to me is really interesting because it could be referring to Commander Shepard or other characters, maybe Fane, Mordin, loads of other characters that we had in Mass Effect 2 and 3 that passed away that may not have. Again, that implies quite a lot, and the same goes for Mass Effect Andromeda, maybe Alec Ryder. Again, this could go down a whole rabbit hole with just this one statement in general. And then it also mentions, what about all the galaxies? Galaxies as in plural, meaning that this references both the Milky Way and Andromeda galaxies, both returning. More on that later, essentially, because there is also more evidence for Andromeda later on, because we've already kind of got hints of the Milky Way, but we'll get into the Andromeda bit later on. And this paragraph once again references Liara to Sony, but it also says, what about S? Now, I've been racking my brain of what this could be referring to, but I think this could be referring to our new character that we've seen in both the new art piece as well as the new teaser trailer, which I'll cover in more detail later on. The only other things that I could think of this referring to are the brand new SFX ship that was seen in the 2021 N7 Day poster, or maybe Solarian. If there is either that or Sam Trainer. Again, there's not really many characters with sort of the letter S at the beginning of their name, but tell me in the comments below, what do you guys think about this? It's really interesting, this little statement here, and obviously it then goes on to sort of what's happened with Liara, obviously our favourite scientist turned shadow broker, potentially something else, again matriarch or something, again we'll have to wait and see, but yeah, this paragraph for me was really interesting, and we've all noticed something really strange. If you read through the entire blog post, it was filled with ones and zeros, which if all put together into binary, translates to a website URL, linking us with the following URL on screen right now. Now, the first one of these was called Epsilon, and this is where the entire community banded together and started decoding these messages, which is our first reference to the list of names that Mass Effect would have actually been called before Bioware named the series Mass Effect. There's quite a few of these. There's the Epsilon effect, Bioware, and loads more that we'll mention later as well. But here, with the first mention of Epsilon, we get the following: access code Epsilon. Access code accepted, secondary encryption detected, some random string of sort of letters there, Andromeda distress signal detected, year sent redacted, audio transcript, although they should know by now not to underestimate human redacted. Now, in order again, the first encryption is titled Epsilon and was accepted, and from here we got a short teaser video of an unknown character walking. However, we just got to see their feet and legs. Later on, throughout the different ones that we got, we eventually got the whole clip, which I'll cover later. But what really strikes out here is the Andromeda distress signal detected. Now, throughout the last 3 years, we've had loads of hints from Michael Gamble himself, the director of the next Mass Effect game, and other devs at Bioware, as well as many things that have been hidden in the various pieces of information that we've got from Bioware regarding that not just only Milky Way is returning, but Andromeda is returning as well in some capacity, and this gives us confirmation right here because it straight up says in black and white, Andromeda distress signal detected, which could imply that the next game actually takes place in Andromeda as some sort of distress signal was found there. Either that or it takes place in the Milky Way galaxy and the distress signal is coming from Andromeda. And the audio transcript part at the bottom is actually repeated from Liara's voice line in last year's N7 Day 2022 secret transmission footage, which I'll put on screen now.
I can see it. How did we miss this? Exactly. The Council will be furious. Although they should know by now not to underestimate human defiance. Perhaps was the most endearing trait.
Now, straight after we got this teaser, we then got another timer, another website titled Oculon. Now, we have to wait for another encrypted message here via a website timer, this time obviously called Oculon, which was another clever reference to the naming of the Mass Effect series before it was finalised as Mass Effect. In this second encryption, we got another short teaser video. This time it was the second part of it, as well as the following code. Access code Oculon 2819 Defiant. Access code accepted. Tertiary encryption detected. Classified. Review briefing materials on official Alliance comms channels. Now, this also let us know that there was a third encryption waiting, because if you don't know, most encryptions come in threes. Also, there's the adage that I like to have that all good things come in threes. But here we got Defiance, which was another reference to the secret transmission audio, but the main bit of info here being the Oculon 2819. This could actually be the year that this game, the actual brand new Mass Effect game, takes place in. Either that or it's just the sort of year that the teaser takes place in and it's not related. We know that the Arcs left the Milky Way in 2185, meaning that they then got to Andromeda around 2785, as it took them around 600 years to actually get there, meaning that this next game, if it's implied by this year, 2819, could be set 700 years after Mass Effect 3's ending, which is mental. This will need its own separate video, because this then goes down a rabbit hole that's its whole thing. We could have characters like Tali and human characters dead, because at the end of the day, if it's 700 years in the future, they're long gone. However, some of the Krogans and Asari characters may still be alive, hence why we have Liara, and she may be in her matriarch stage. But again, we haven't got full confirmation yet, but this is more evidence to suggest that this next game might take place hundreds of years in the future. So after this, we awaited the third transmission encryption, which, by the way, on stream took ages. I think it took about an hour and 40 minutes for this last one to come through, but it was titled Post Nebula, which again was a reference to Mass Effect's naming convention before it was called Mass Effect. And in this one, we got the following: Security breach detected. Contact Systems Alliance. Epsilon, Oculon, Nebula. This is really interesting. I've had a lot of people sort of mention this in my comment section and, you know, donated on the stream and whatnot with this as well. Epsilon, Oculon, Nebula, when put into an acronym, reads EON, which could potentially be something to do with the next game, or could be the actual title of the main game. We don't know yet, currently as of writing this video. Again though, Eon might be stretching a bit, because Aeon, also known as the noun Eon, can either mean one of two things, being an indefinite and very long period of time, or in philosophy terms, a power existing from eternity. So again, that's a whole rabbit hole of information that I'll have to cover in its own video, but it's very interesting nonetheless that we got Epsilon, Oculon, Nebula, because like I said, that is a really clever reference to what Mass Effect was named before Mass Effect. I think it's just a cute little reference there, but at the end of the day, that's really interesting, and maybe that ties into the next game's title. So after decoding all three, Epsilon, Oculon and Nebula, we finally got the teaser trailer. The first bit was the character walking, then we sort of got their torso, and then we got sort of the full reveal. And this part of the puzzle was really cool because I and, you know, me and the chat got to see it in sort of from start to finish, and it was just really cool. So anyway, this teaser trailer starts off with an unknown character walking in an unknown interior location. And the first thing to notice is in the top corner as the character's walking, it looks like there is a possible Krogan in the background. It has what looks like it to be Krogan armor with a helmet and lighting, and it looks like to be moving slightly. If you play the trailer with enhanced lighting and sort of slowed down, it's a bit harder to see, but weirdly enough, if you play the trailer in its original sort of format, you can actually see the Krogan or whoever this is or whatever this is moving, so that's why we sort of think it's a Krogan. Next up, where are we? This interior kind of reminds me of the MR7 space station from the Secret Transmission. By the way, if you guys didn't know this, Mike Gamble and the team at Bioware have already confirmed this isn't a mass relay. But personally, after looking at this trailer a bit more, I don't think it's set here. We see lit up canisters in the background shots, which could be either batteries or general storage containers. Again, at this moment, we don't know. And obviously the first bit of the trailer, we get boots and legging at the feet of this main character, has the N7 aesthetics. However, upon further inspection, this sort of armor set and aesthetics don't actually match up with the typical N7 armor of the past or the Spectre armor. This is brand new. It also doesn't match Liara's armour or sort of her aesthetic overall, from the original teaser trailer back in 2020. I've gone back and looked at both and they are completely different, so in my opinion this character isn't Liara. In terms of getting a good look at this armour, it looks like to be a jacket/coat design, with the typical N7 red and white marking down the sleeves, as well as the red LEDs on the back in a circular pattern. For some reason this kind of reminds me of the back of the main armour from Dead Space. I've got no idea why. The armour shoulder pads and back look like a mashup of past armour designs for Mass Effect 3 and Mass Effect Andromeda. As for the helmet, it kind of reminds me of the Obsidian Mine helmet from Destiny 2, I've got no idea why. The armour has a clean, sleek and futuristic aesthetic to it, and it's very minimal. Not really much like it in the Milky Way galaxy or Andromeda that we've seen before in the Mass Effect universe as a whole. Again, this looks very futuristic and brand new. This armour could be another indication that this could be taking place in the far future, 2819 to be more precise, as I mentioned earlier. Back when the game was announced via the Game Awards, back then pretty much all news outlets and gaming journalists were reporting that this game definitely takes place in the future, and Liara looks a lot older. That's what people were reporting at the time, especially with more information. We had this lovely clip from Game Informer basically after the trailer came out.
And I feel like if you're interested in the future, obviously we know Liara's much older. I would put her at now around 800 years, given off the trailer, and also I've confirmed that she's much older with the Bioware devs as well. So we know it's very much set in the future. And so I feel like the ending of the...
Plus, we now have this futuristic armour as well as a potential date of 2819. It's also straight, you know, again, we'll have to speculate on this in the future. In terms of a timeline, that will have to have its own video because there's just so much to dive into with this. Also, the armour has N7 not only on the back of the collar on the neck, but it also has it on where you'd expect it to be, sort of on the chest as well. As for who this is, well, we currently don't know. The character, in my opinion, kind of looks like a hunter or an outlaw, kind of mashed up with a Cerberus sniper class design, or, you know, like the ones that can turn invisible. This character could be espionage focused though. As we know, Spectres do go above and beyond the law and behind the council, basically to do what they want. That was the whole point of Shepard in the original Mass Effect game, but obviously Shepard was more soldier focused. So if this character is N7 and a Spectre, this could give us brand new gameplay options and be more focused on stealth and espionage and sort of stealing things and heists, because that was the whole point of the rabbit hole with the binary codes and the different websites. It seemed as though we were encrypting things and stealing things as we were doing it, which is really cool. Like I said earlier though, personally I don't think this is Liara to Sony, nor do I think this is Scott or Sarah Ryder. I really think this is our first shot of a brand new protagonist in the Mass Effect series, and in my opinion the design just looks really cool in general. I'm loving the aesthetic overall. Lastly, we get a shot of the character walking out of this interior area. Unfortunately, this shot is blurred out, but in the background we get a shot of a yellow area or a yellow planet. This planet could well be Tuchanka, Rannoch in the future, somewhere in the Kanala system, or somewhere brand new in the Andromeda galaxy, as this could very well be set in the far future, and it may be a planet or a location we just haven't visited yet. Again, more on this in a future video. Plus, in the background of the shot we can see a blurred sort of ship of some kind of air-to-ground vehicle. This kind of looks like, to me at least, the XT-8 Mudskipper, which has been shown in the actual reveal trailer for the next Mass Effect game, as well as various pieces of concept art from Bioware. It has an open hatch with stairs to get into the vehicle, as well as sort of like the feet to plant itself to actually land, the actual landing gear itself, so to speak. But again, it's really hard to tell as it's really blurred out, but at least that's what it looks like to me. At least it looks like there's a ramp with landing gear. So again, this could be the XT-8 Mudskipper, as that is a air-to-ground vehicle, or this could be the brand new SFX ship that was shown off in the 2021 poster. We'll have to wait and see more on that in a future video though. Now, the reason I haven't talked about the pistol yet, because we do see our new character in the sort of trailer holding a pistol, is because Mike Gamble, as well as all of the other official channels, have now tweeted out this new art piece, which at a future date you can actually get from the Bioware gear store if you're interested in that, which shows us a better shot of our new character with some really cool hidden details. Firstly, we see the pistol in more detail. This seems to be at least a brand new weapon. I've cobbled through all of the weapons and I've combed through sort of all the pistols from the original trilogy and Andromeda, and it kind of looks like the N7 Eagle or maybe like the M5, but even that's a bit of a stretch, and it does look like some more of the Andromeda weapon design aesthetics. This brand new N7 pistol looks to be be a twin barrel pistol, so it could fire 2 shots rather than 1, and it could potentially be burst fire. Next is the armor design. Not much has changed from the actual trailer, but we do see a more sort of high-res up-close shot here. It's an N7 jacket covering light armor, and again it looks sleek, modern, minimalistic and futuristic, which gives us more of a hint that this new game may take place in 2819 in the far future in Andromeda. In this poster we also get a look at some kind of nightclub within, sort of embedded in the aesthetics of the actual poster itself. In this nightclub we see depictions of humans, Asari, Drell, Solarians, Hanar, Turians and Krogans. You might also be able to see a Volus and Batarians at the bar, but it's really hard to make out, and venturing further into this sort of art piece it becomes really pixelated and blurry, so it's kind of hard to see. But if you guys do see anything that I've missed here, please let me know in the comments below. Now, this nightclub to me kind of looks, again, combing through all of the nightclubs that we've had in 1, 2, 3 and Andromeda, the closest this looks to is Cora's Den for me from Mass Effect 1, but with some elements from Mass Effect 2's Afterlife. But if this was set in Andromeda, this could be an entirely new setting, as we can also see jellyfish in a glass, an aquarium, a centre bar, as well as a dance floor with people chatting, drinking and dancing, your typical nightclub shenanigans. Now, if this is set in Andromeda, then this ties into the Quarian arc storyline covered in the novel, Mass Effect Andromeda Annihilation, which was also technically the post-credit scene from Andromeda, as that arc was carrying Quarians as well as the other Milky Way species not seen in Mass Effect Andromeda, such as the Hanar. And again, if they're appearing in this art piece, then if this takes place in Andromeda, then we might be able to see more of that storyline unfold in the new game, or at least have an explanation of what happened to the arc. Again, we do get a bit of an explanation of what happens to it in the novel, but it would be nice to see it in game, as not a lot of people have read the novel. Or if this character is set in the Milky Way rather than Andromeda, then Andromeda will definitely somehow play into the main story, as over the past 3 years we've had so many teasers from Mike Gamble and Bioware for the merging of both galaxies of some variety. Whether it could be, personally I don't think it's time travel, there's no way it's going to be time travel, but again, with Mass Effect 2 and 3 and Andromeda being set 600 years apart, and now we have this new date being 2819, this gives sort of more evidence that perhaps we could be seeing a game set in the far future with a distress signal being sent and received from Andromeda. So that's pretty much everything we got this N7 day. There was a lot to cover here, and I will be covering the art as well as the teaser trailer in more detail in tomorrow's video, just because I've been up for a very long time and it's now midnight as of recording this, and it's just so much to unpack and so much to break down. Hopefully you've enjoyed this, and this has pretty much been a complete breakdown of everything we've learned so far from N7 day 2023. Thank you so much for watching, and click here on screen to watch my full reaction and live stream, which took 4 hours, and we all had a blast just going through everything, and it was a blast reacting to everything with everyone. Thank you so much for everyone who actually tuned in. It was really good fun. Thank you so much for watching this complete breakdown. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe for more Mass Effect content, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you and good night.